morning, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us at the Barbie-inspired Web3 Lounge. I hope you're having a good time. We really just wanted to create a fun vibe as we talk about all things Web3, metaverse, NFT, blockchain, smart contracts, all the things, right? So thank you, first of all, to all of our sponsors that have helped make this Web3 Lounge possible. We've got Midnight Oil, Spatial, Solana, NICAP, Passage, Gensity Labs. And we have one of our partners here today to talk about what Solana is doing to help onboard companies into the Web3 platform. So please give a big round of applause to Josh Freed and Lori Lehman from our D2 team.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Web3 Lounge. I'm Lori Lehman, the Director of Content for the D2 brand. We're so glad all of you could be here today, and I see some of you are wearing pink, so thank you for participating in our fun vibe.
And purple, too.
We're excited.
Solana purple.
Okay, and with me today is Josh Freed from Solana Foundation. Josh, would you take a minute and introduce yourself and tell us about the purple?
Yeah, so we're very on brand at Solana, and I was instructed to wear a light shade of purple and Solana socks as well. So going with the theme. Yeah, no, thanks for having us. So excited to be here. I think we're the only blockchain representing Web3 at Advertising Week, so it's really great. Thank you for giving us the opportunity. And yeah, I've actually been in digital media and tech for a long time, but have never been to Adweek. So this is my first experience, and it's funny that it's happening as part of a blockchain foundation. I started off at NBC Universal doing digital media, and then worked at Google for about 10 years, working in shopping and commerce, and probably would have had an opportunity to come to Adweek, but it just never worked out. And then I worked in transportation at Waze. Any Waze fans out there in the audience? Yeah, okay, cool. Yeah, I don't go anywhere without it. So I worked at Waze building a product called Waze Carpool that was helping people commute together. And then after about 10 years at Google, decided to leap into Web3 and crypto. And the opportunity came at Solana to take the tech that we've got, which we think is the best in class in the industry, and really change what people think about crypto and blockchains, and make it, and sort of expand the universe beyond just currencies moving back and forth. So now I lead business development for commerce, loyalty, and payments at Solana Foundation, and we're trying to grow the ecosystem around commerce. So if you've seen our booth there in the back, we've actually brought a store to you, and you can check out using Solana Pay, our payments protocol, and buy some of our merch items. It's a really fun experience, just takes about a minute. Yeah, so we're super psyched to be here. Thank you.
Well, Josh, one of the things that I think people are interested in knowing about, maybe interested in knowing a little bit more about, you know, blockchain might have a synonymous, be synonymous, I should say, with cryptocurrency or NFTs or decentralized finance and things of that nature. Why is Solana here at Advertising Week, and why now?
Yeah, it's a great question. So, you know, blockchain tech has been around for a long time, and for better or worse, the very first application was just a cryptocurrency, right? Bitcoin. Which you could essentially do one thing with, which is move it from one account to another. And I think that became people's mental model for blockchain tech and what it could do for a very long time. And then Ethereum came around, and that sort of opened up the possibilities a little bit, because you have essentially smart contracts or programmable blockchain tech. Which allowed people to build protocols to do things like NFTs or non-fungible tokens. And that's really cool, and we saw a lot of speculation with that a couple years ago. But the technology is so much more than just, you know, Bored Apes and monkey JPEGs that you own and trade. And I think what Solana is trying to do is prove that that frontier is a lot broader than just NFTs and DeFi and cryptocurrencies moving back and forth. So in commerce and payments and loyalty, we're proving that brands can build a lot of value for themselves and for customers using these same tools and the same technology. So an NFT, instead of being just you know, a JPEG that represents your online self, it could be you know, your your punch card, your loyalty program that allows you to have composability and value added to a one retailer or one brand from another brand. Like easy collaboration between brands is one thing that we're trying to prove on chain. So that there. Now is as good a time as any to sort of, we're in a bear market right now, so a lot of the speculation has gone away, and the builders are still here, building the things that we think are going to move the needle for the next bull market. Crypto has these bear cycles, bull cycles. So we think now's a really good time to put our heads down and let folks build the next generation of tech that's going to help brands and retailers really truly revolutionize their businesses when people flood back into crypto and Web3.
Great. Thank you for that. So tell me a little bit about Solana's entrance into the world of commerce and payments and loyalty. What kinds of things have you and your company tried? What kinds of things, what kinds of brands are you working with?
Sure.
And are they having success?
Yeah, so we started about a year and a half ago by introducing the Solana Pay protocol, which is an easy, it sounds complicated, but it's a very easy way for a merchant and a consumer to shake hands using the blockchain and exchange value. The Solana Pay protocol started in February of 22. And then we basically decided to try to show people what was possible so that projects could build things using this protocol on Solana. So just to be clear, Solana Foundation, we are here to shepherd the ecosystem and grow the ecosystem of companies building on Solana, but much of what gets built is built by startups and projects and independent builders, and our job is to nurture and grow them. So we came out with the Solana Pay protocol. We took over some cafes in San Francisco, and we demonstrated that you could run an entire retail operation using just Solana-based payments. If people are familiar with stablecoins, stablecoin is essentially the digital dollar equivalent. So we had a cafe in San Francisco called Atlas Cafe, where we took it over for the day, and you could only purchase things using USDC stablecoin. And we had construction workers coming in and nannies with little kids and people off the street. And within just a couple of minutes, we were able to get them onboarded into these crypto wallets and checking out for their coffees and their croissants and things like that at a real cafe in San Francisco. So it just proved what was possible. There were a lot of ecosystem companies there and builders there that then started building the next generation of products using Solana Pay. So the next thing we did was a collaboration with ASICS, which we can talk about. And we have some information on that at our booth. We are now working with Boba Guys, which is a very popular boba tea chain, to build their first ever loyalty program. We have partnered with Shopify to release a Solana Pay Shopify payment gateway. So anybody in the world with a Shopify storefront can essentially turn on this plugin and allow for Solana-based payments in their Shopify store. So it's growing, one step at a time. We're working with brands and then brick and mortar retailers and then e-commerce retailers, and we're just expanding the pie as much as possible.
Great, thank you. So let's dig into some of those examples you shared. ASICS being the big one. I think most people here are probably familiar with that brand. As far as I understand, you introduced a custom running shoe that had the purple Solana on it. We need to see if we can get some pink in the next one.
Yeah.
And that was blended with a digital, the term digital collectibles, some of you may realize, has been interchangeable with NFTs. NFT, right. Seems very technical and for some people maybe like, they don't know what you're referring to. So the word digital collectible has become popular. But basically you combine those two things together. And I wanted to find out if you could share a little bit about like how all that worked.
Yeah.
Take us through the process, explain to our audience like what that's all about. And kind of a follow-up question I'll pitch here too is yesterday we had a panel where they talked about the word phygital. And there was some conversation about people didn't like the word phygital. So I'd love to get your take on what you think about the word phygital. But
yeah,
first we'll go through the ASICS example, if you wouldn't mind.
To answer that last part first, fewer jargony words would be better in this space. So phygital might just confuse people. Let's just go with digital collectible. I'm on board with that. So ASICS had, the shoe brand, right, had tried in 2021, like many brands, they jumped on board the NFT train and they released some very expensive, very exclusive NFTs on Ethereum that a few people bought, but didn't really do anything other than generate some headlines. And I met the director of digital goods at ASICS, his name's Joe, and Joe was like, look, we really want to do something that proves what blockchain can do, and this NFT experience that we didn't really move the needle. So let's do something unique. Let's actually release a shoe together and then have a digital version of that shoe also available and kickstart a loyalty program at the same time. So what we did was they're really good at making shoes and we're really good at designing technology. So they designed the shoe in the Solana colorways, the purples and the blacks and the greens and the blues. And we designed essentially and partnered with a company called Steppen. Steppen is a game on the Solana ecosystem where you move through the world and you earn money, you earn tokens as you're walking the dog, walking around the block. It's a move to earn game. So we said, you need a shoe to play this game. Basically, you have an NFT shoe that is your ticket to play the game. So we'll create a program whereby if you buy this shoe using Solana Pay, the real shoe, you would also get a digital version of the same shoe that you could use in the Steppen game. And the only way that you could buy this shoe was using our Solana Pay network and USDC, the stable coin that I talked about previously. So for the low price of $200, you got a physical shoe, a digital shoe, and a loyalty NFT that opened up the world of ASICS loyalty to you, the customer. Now, they've never launched a shoe globally before. Like they have a very, they're good at making shoes, but it's challenging to sell and distribute in 180 countries or however many they're in. So we said, look, using USDC, this single currency, you'll be able to launch in all of these countries simultaneously. And that's what we did. We had a 5-day sort of flash sale of the shoe globally. And they sold, I think, shoes in about 62 different countries using this one single currency and this sort of like very simplified shipping method that we came up with together. And it was a pre-sale, right? So they only produced as many shoes as we sold. Minimal waste, minimal wasted energy or expense. So we sold in 5 days about 3,000 pairs of shoes and 3,000 digital shoes. And then everybody got an NFT representing their loyalty program on ASICS on Solana. And then, about 3 months later, the physical shoes were shipped. The digital shoes were shipped immediately, and people could use them to play the Steppen game and move through the world and do their, move to earn, gaming experience. The badges were tradable, right? So any NFT that you own is yours and yours to trade or sell. So people could collect more ASICS loyalty badges if they wanted. They could sell or trade the digital shoes that they received. So that whole piece was completely owned by ASICS customers. And ASICS was very, very willing to experiment and see where this took them. And I think there were about 10,000 trades of their loyalty badges. Yeah, so it was quite a vibrant ecosystem that was formed in a very short amount of time using Solana and sort of the blockchain tech as the back end.
So that's interesting. I'd be curious to know, how do you know whether something is successful? I mean, obviously, ASICS wanted to be more authentic, and so they found that the NFT collection they released initially was not exactly the best fit maybe for their audience, or they didn't get the traction they think they were going to get. What kind of metrics are brands using to gauge whether this is effective, on target for a brand, authentic? What makes it successful? How did you decide as a brand that this is successful?
Yeah, so they measured two things primarily. One was sales, right? So when ASICS releases a limited edition shoe, they typically sell anywhere from 2,000 to 5,000 pairs, and they sold 3,000 pairs. So they made $600,000 in revenue, which was considered a retail success over just 5 days, right? The second thing they measured was sentiment, and the online sentiment, especially in Japan, where ASICS is extremely popular, was overwhelmingly positive because many of their fans, many ASICS fans were already playing Steppen and had been exposed to this game. So that sort of brand collaboration adjacency piece was spot on. And so they were monitoring Twitter, they were monitoring Instagram, all their social accounts, and the sentiment was like 85% positive for this brand collaboration. So both metrics really hit it out of the park for them.
That's good to know. And for brands that are looking for that kind of metric, that's a great example. Let's move on to Shopify. I know Shopify is well known here as a brand within the Advertising Week event. And basically that integration allows a brand, I will say, to basically have easier access to their money. So it sounds like what it's doing is skipping the third-party retailer step, so the brand can connect directly with the consumer. Do I have that correct? And just a follow-up question, like what's the benefit of that to the end consumer that's buying the ASIC shoe or whatever product they're buying?
Sure. So yeah, any Shopify storefront can turn on in their alternate payment gateway section of the Shopify merchant portal. They can turn on Solana Pay, and what that allows the storefront to do is have this direct handshake connection with the consumer, so that USDC or whatever currency they're charging using Solana Pay can move instantly from the consumer wallet to the merchant wallet without any intermediaries. So there's no credit card companies taking a rake. There's no Shopify, taking their cut. At least now, that's something that we've negotiated for today. So give it a try. So from a merchant perspective, the value is clear. They're collecting every cent from the consumer without any fees that can really add up in the e-commerce space. And then from a consumer's perspective, they're looking for ways to offload their crypto, right? There's not very many off-ramps for crypto. There's not very many places to spend it. I know many people who are just sitting on cryptocurrency, like looking for a place to use it. And Shopify has 2.5-3 million storefronts. So now there are very easy ways for people who are just simply holding crypto and maybe waiting for it to go up, or maybe waiting for places to spend it, to essentially off-ramp into physical products and buy things in the real world using their crypto. So that's one benefit. The other benefit for consumers is there's anonymity, right? Like you give your you give your customer information to the merchant, but you don't have to share your credit card info. You don't have to sort of KYC yourself as you do every time you swipe your credit card in the world. Like somebody somewhere is tracking that. I've seen that happening around Adweek. So with crypto, there's a little bit of anonymity. That wallet address that you use could be a one-time wallet address that you use only once and then never again. And so that gives you, as the consumer, a little bit of privacy and protection.
That's fascinating. Thank you. Let's get to the third example you mentioned, which was Boba Guys.
Yep.
For those of you who may not be familiar with them, they are a popular tea chain, and it sounded like they wanted to build a loyalty program. And loyalty programs are really beginning to be huge for brands. We've seen Starbucks, obviously, is probably the most well-known example of a change in their loyalty program. So for those of you who follow that, I'm sure you're intimately familiar with it. I know there's members of my household who spend more money at Starbucks than I can keep track of. And, so tell us about how brands and retailers benefit from building on the blockchain and the Web3 backend, and what specifically was the attraction for Boba Guys?
Yeah, so Boba Guys is very successful. They have shops all over New York, the Bay Area, and Los Angeles, and they've been around for 12 or 13 years and have never launched a loyalty program, and primarily because it was so expensive. Like if you're going to do loyalty in a retail sense, you have to probably build a couple of apps. You have to do a physical integration at the point of sale, and so and retailers are very price sensitive, right? Like their margins are small, especially in tea, like $6 or $7 tea. How much are they? I don't know how much they're making, but it's not a lot. They have to sell a lot of tea. So in order to put a loyalty program into the world, it needed to be a very seamless and price, cost-effective solution. So with us and with a partner called Hang, we've built a Boba Guys loyalty experience called Passport. And it is a progressive web app. So they didn't have to build an iOS app or an Android app. It literally lives in your browser on your phone, but it's always there. It feels and functions like an app. And then we're using the blockchain to track all of the steps. Like, as you progress through the levels of loyalty, those are NFTs. They don't appear as NFTs to the user. They're very much digital collectibles. And it's all obfuscated. The blockchain piece is not visible to the user, but it allows for easy progression through the chain of as you buy more boba. And then each of the rewards that you get, like there's loot boxes and gamification, each of the prizes that you get as part of the loyalty program, those are also NFTs. So at some point, we haven't opened up this functionality yet, users will be able to share and trade their rewards with other users. If I get a free pastry and I'm not really into pastries, I could send that to you, like within the loyalty program. It really belongs to me, and it becomes something that I can share with others. And Boba Guys is really interested in having their biggest fans feel that sense of ownership and collaboration with other users. And speaking of collaboration, it also the blockchain allows for composability, right? Like Boba Guys can talk to other complementary retailers and brands and easily offer other benefits through their loyalty program to their users from other brands that are also in our ecosystem. So it checked all the boxes for Boba Guys. We've launched this in one store in San Francisco about a month ago, but very soon, I can't break any news here at Adweek, but we should be looking to expand that very broadly very soon.
That's exciting for anyone who's a tea drinker. So
yeah, definitely.
That's great news. So let's talk about money, because everybody loves to talk about money, right? Let's talk about the difference between Solana and Solana Foundation. And correct me if I've got this wrong, but it sounds like you invested $100,000 into Boba as a convertible grant. And I wanted to find out a little bit about the Solana Foundation's grants and if that's something that folks here with brands might be able to take advantage of.
Yeah, for sure. So we have a pretty nice grant program as a foundation. We try to invest money into the ecosystem, first and foremost in public goods or other tooling that will help everyone in Solana build better things on Solana. So if you're building an open source public tooling type project, you go to solana.com or solana.org/grants, and you can check out all of our available grants. We do have different kinds of grants in circumstances like with Boba Guys, right? So they were raising a round of funding, and we decided, our visions were very aligned, and we wanted to not only build this loyalty program with them, but invest in their future success. And we were so confident in this loyalty program and its ability to help them grow that we also made a grant that is a convertible grant that turns into equity into the Boba Guys. And Ben and Andrew were very happy the Boba founders were very happy to be officially partnered with a blockchain in that way. So there are other opportunities. If there are brands out there that are looking to, offset their development costs, or they need funding to make a first of its kind type of program work, come talk to us. We're very open to discussing new and interesting ways to partner through the foundation grant program. So I have some folks over there at the booth. You can come find me. I'm here today and tomorrow. Happy to talk about what you guys are trying to build.
Are you able to share some of the companies that you've been able to provide grants for? Is there any intel we can get there?
Yeah, no, so far it's mostly been Web3 projects that are building, like I said, open source tooling. And we don't really announce grants publicly, but the projects themselves can announce. So if you do a little Googling, you can see the projects that are out there that have said that they've received funding from the Solana Foundation.
That's awesome. Well, get your Googling fingers going. So tell us about the merch store you've got back here. I've seen a lot of people stopping by. You've had some great traffic. Just explain to our audience a little bit about what you're doing and why they should stop by and try to purchase.
So the headline is we're the only booth at Adweek, I believe, that's giving away money. So tell all your friends to come to the Web3 Lounge and get some free money. And I'm not joking. So you come up to our booth, and we've basically set it up like a storefront. And in order to check out, you have to have a little bit of USDC, which is the stablecoin that I mentioned before on Solana. And most people don't have USDC. So what happens is you come up, you scan the QR code, and we automatically open up a wallet that has a little bit of USDC in it. And with that USDC, you are then able to buy the items at our merch store. And we have some great items, right? So beach theme, we have some sunglasses, some clear backpacks, we have some water bottles, and we have some bottle openers. Every item that you see is 5 cents. So, it's quite the steal. And we give you enough money in USDC to purchase one of each item. And you go through the checkout process so you can see how quick and easy it is to use the Solana blockchain in a commerce or retail experience. So it's very experiential. You get a little bit of free money. You get to tell your friends you have some crypto. And you get some great items to take home.
Great. Well, that sounds like fun. I tried it. I know my team has tried it. It was fun. It was super painless, easy. I enjoyed it. I have a Coinbase wallet myself, and I've got some NFTs sitting in there. Nothing that's worth anything of value beyond the D2 NFT. Which,
yes, I have one as well.
If you haven't downloaded via the QR code, by the way, the D2 NFT is available, so get that today. Last but fun question, Barbie or Oppenheimer?
Okay, I'm uniquely qualified to answer this because I did the Barbenheimer and I saw both movies in the same day. Um, and I probably did it in the wrong order because I saw Barbie first and then Oppenheimer. That was a mistake. I did enjoy both movies, but for me, Barbie all the way. It's so rewatchable. I have two preteen girls, so I've seen Barbie twice actually, and I think I enjoyed it even more the second time because you pick up on little jokes and things happening in the background and all those dance scenes. So yeah, Barbie all the way.
That's awesome. Well, that was the answer we wanted to hear here at the Barbie-themed Web3 Lounge. I think that's it, unless there's anything else you want to add before we turn it over for questions.
No, I thanks so much for having us. And yeah, if anybody has questions, we can do them live or come up to us at the booth. We have some folks at the booth as well, but happy to take questions.
Questions, comments? Who's seen Barbie, by the way? Anyone?
Oh, there should be more hands than that.
Any questions? Got one here.
Hey, thanks so much for the conversation today. Just wondering how you have been helping any brands that are interested, but then there's obviously a need to educate their own consumers. What are you doing in that space? What have you found that works, doesn't work? Like, what are those big pain points? Because I think that that's probably the biggest bottleneck that I've seen.
Yeah, I agree. It's an industry bottleneck. I mean, we all need to be working together to educate folks, and again, like removing jargon, trying to make things as simple as possible. So, for example, in early days, downloading a wallet was a big obstruction for people. Like it was hard for people to understand what that meant, what self-custody means, what the private keys are. So in the last 6 to 9 months, though, we've seen a ton of innovation. And for example, at our booth, when you scan that QR code, you're essentially creating a wallet on Solana with a little bit of currency in it, but it lives in the browser. We don't, there's no complicated like save your seed phrase process. You link it to your Google account. Consumers are really used to. I think I killed that mic. Consumers are really used to like using their Google account for login. So Web3 startups are doing a much better job of onboarding users just over the last, I've seen 9 months. And that's going to help take that education threshold down a bit. But I've been talking to folks today and yesterday about how probably as an industry we need to get together in some sort of consortium and do some broad-based education campaigns, because I really do think like the fact that crypto started off as sort of this Bitcoin speculation-focused industry is a disservice. It's a technology that can do so much more than just go up as a price, and so I think we need to get together as an industry and probably pool some marketing dollars and do some broad-based education and help figure that out.
Other questions? Comments?
It's okay if people are shy. I'm here. I'm here all day. So come up and chew my ear off.
Well, thank you so much, Josh. We're glad to have you and your team here, and I do encourage you to stop by the Solana booth in the back there and try it out if you haven't already. And thank you for being here. And if you'd help me give Josh a round of applause.